Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn that if we have created a dashboard or some calculations with respect to Power Pivot and we want to migrate all our calculated columns and explicit measures to the Power BI on this particular window. So how are we going to do that? Either we need to start from the scratch or we can import that. So the solution is, if you have created any kind of dashboard or some calculations with respect to the Power Pivot in Microsoft Excel, you can migrate that explicit measures and keep connection into the Power BI as well. And the second thing we will learn that if we have created some explicit measures in different table and we want to combine them as a separate all together, so how are we going to do that? So let's get started. If you can see on my screen, I have 3 Power Pivot tables for different purposes. So the first thing, I will go to Power Pivot tab and then I will click on this Manage button. So it will open up Power Pivot for Excel, where you can see I have different tables on this particular window, which comes from different files and sources. And I have created different many explicit measures here for the calculation. Right now, what I will do is I will go to Power BI, and on Power BI you have to click on File, then you have to click on Import, and then you have to select this option, Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, which tells you that import queries and models you created in Excel to Power BI. So let's create this particular option available. Okay, it says save your file, so let's save that. Now this is our file, Time Intelligence DAX Power Pivot. Let's click open. So this is the first importing process, import Excel workbook contents. Alright, let's click on start button. So if file is already open, it will not consider the migration. So we need to close the file first. Okay, so file, import, then this option, select the file. Alright, let's click on start button. Now it shows us that there are queries and data model tables that depend on the following worksheet in the original workbook for this data. So let's click on keep connection. Now the migration process being started, all the implicit and explicit measures are coming through. Alright, so now you can see that migration is completed. 6 queries, data models, KPIs and measures are there. Okay. Alright, let's click on close. Now you can see here we got the tables and all our measures, calculated columns and explicit measures as well. Now one thing you will observe that we have the explicit measures in the orders table, right? If we go to the dates table, we have some explicit measure there as well, right? If I go to some other table, let's say customers, we have that explicit measure here as well. Now what I want to do is I want to make all and combine all the measures together in a separate table. Okay, so for doing that, we will go to the modeling tab and then we will click on new table. Alright, so it will open a formula bar where it has written table equals to space. Now we don't need to write any other thing, just press enter key. Okay, so once you press the enter key, you can see a new table is there. So let's rename this as measures all, or any other name you would like to give. So we have given the measures all name, and this has just a one blank column. We need to shift all the explicit measures to here and bring this to the top. Okay, so we will go to model view, and here we will click on orders table. Okay, where we have explicit measures, you know that. So what we're going to do, right click, select measures. That will select all the measures automatically in this particular table, and we will change the home table. So home table will be now measures all. Alright, And similar thing for the customers. Right click, select measures, and we will change the home table from customers to measures all. And another table we have is for the dates. So right click, select measures, and change the table from dates to measure all. Now when I expand this, you can see here we got all the measures, explicit measures in the measures all grouping. Now we need to bring this to the top. Okay, so let's go, and you know that we have one column which is blank. So what we will gonna do is right click and click on hide. Now what happens that now all your measures, explicit measures, will be on top as a group named as measure alls. Okay, so that's how we have combined all the measures to one particular place, so that if in future we need to use them, we can use them from this particular group rather than going to separate tables and finding them. One way is that we can use the search bar to write the initials, and that will identify or filter those measures, but good way is to keep all measures together in a one particular group. Thank you. Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn again related to the time intelligence DAX, and we will try to calculate previous year balances and next year balances. Now for calculating it, we need some data to be import into the Power BI. So let's get started. First we will import the data, and we will create a schema out of it, and then we will try to create explicit measures for previous year and next year. So let's get started. Alright, so first file I have is Excel dates file. So let's open this. So it will establish a connection, and it shows the navigator window where we have dates table. So we'll select that and click on load button. So it will take few seconds to load the data into the Power BI. Loading data to the model. Okay, so few rows has been loaded now. So we got the dates table, right? Next, again, get data Excel workbook. Now we have product sheet, so let's import this as well. Okay, so we'll import the products. This is as name range, so we'll select this, click on load. Again, get data Excel workbook, regions. We have regions data as a dimension table. Alright, let's load this. Okay, so next file we have is in a text format, that is for returns. Let's open. Let's see the preview. Alright, let's load the data. So the last file is coming from Access. So for that, get data, click on more, and here select the Access database, click on connect, and we have superstore.accdb. Let's open this file and import the relevant tables from it. Okay, so we have two tables, customers and orders. So let's select them and load. So once we load the data from all the different file types or different sources, now the next step is to build a data model. It could be a star schema, it could be a snowflake schema, depends on the situation. So let's go to model view and let's create a schema out of it. So we know that orders is a fact table, so let's keep it in the center. Alright, let's keep products here, dates here, table regions, returns, and we have one more table for customers, right? Alright, so we have 6 tables altogether. Let's quickly connect. So I hope you know how to connect fact and dimension table. You identify the common column available in both the tables. So in this situation, orders and customers, customer ID is the common column, right? And the connection or the relationship is built as one to many. Let's connect the dates table. So date with order date. Click save. This is one to many relationship between dates and orders table. Now for the products, SKU ID to the SKU. Let's connect that. Alright, let's click on save. Alright, then returns table, order ID versus order ID. Join them, click save. And there are two dimension tables, customers and table regions. Let's connect province with the province ID. So it's technically a snowflake schema. Okay, so once we created the schema, now we need to also add some calculated columns before we proceed to time intelligence DAX. So what we need is, we need two additional columns here, net sell price and order amount as a calculated column. So let's click on new column. This is just a one-time process, and I am repeating it for those who are watching these lessons for the very first time, that how to go from the very scratch, from importing the data to creating a schema and then adding some calculated columns. Now once we're done with this, in the next time intelligence DAX videos, you don't need to do this process. You just need to apply all those DAX straightforward. Okay. Alright, so we were talking about adding some calculated columns. So what we need is, we need net sell price column. So this is the column name. After equal sign, what we're going to do is, we will say that unit sell price, that will be multiplied by 1 minus discount. So we need to eliminate the discounting factor from unit sell price to get the net sell price. And another calculated column we need to add for net sell price, multiply by order quantity. Alright, so this next column is for calculating the order amount, which will be net sell price multiplied by order quantity. So this will be known as order amount. So the net sell price multiplied by order quantity. Okay. Alright, let's go to orders table, and here first we will define an explicit measure for total amount. Alright, so let's give a name first to the explicit measure. That will be total orders. Okay, and now how we will calculate this? Sum from orders table, order amount, which is the calculated column we just created right now. So that will give us a number, total orders. So that is 14.74 million, right? Now what we need to do is, we need to learn previous year and next year balances, how we gonna extract from time intelligence DAX. So for that, let's create a table. So let's bring here years to the canvas. Let's put it as table, and we will say don't summarize. Okay, so let's make it a bit bigger. So we will increase the values. Alright, let's resize this. Let's increase the column headers as well. Alright, next is balances year wise. Okay, so for that we'll go to orders table and to drag the total orders. So we can see that 14.7 million year wise. Now what we're gonna do is, we need to create two additional columns, which gives previous year balances versus next year balances. Okay, let's format this as well. We just don't need any decimal places. Alright, and comma formatting. Okay, so go to orders table. Let's click on new measure. Let's name as order amount previous year. Okay, and let's write DAX here equals to calculate. So I can call the explicit measure, that is total orders. Go to the next line, and here we will write previous year. Now we have previous quarter as well, previous month as well, and previous day as well. Okay, so previous year, we need to define the dates, so that will be coming from dates table, date column, close the bracket, press the enter key, and let's drag it to this table. So now here you can see in 2010 raw we have total orders for this current year, and the previous year balance 2009 is coming next to this here, right? Similarly in 2011 we have 2011 number, but previous year is coming from that particular raw. Okay, let's format this as well. We need a comma formatting, and we don't need any decimal places, so we'll put 0 here. Alright, next is order amount for the next year. Okay, so how are we gonna do that? Again, let's go to new measure. First we will give a name. Okay, first we'll give a name, order amount next year, so equals to calculate. Again we'll call explicit measure, that is total orders. Here we will say next year. Now we have other time period as well, next month, next quarter, next day. So we'll select next year, dates table, date column, close the bracket, and let's drag it here, and we'll do the formatting as well for that. So we click on comma formatting, and we need no decimal places, so 0. So now here you can see in 2009 we have this current total orders, and the next year showing here, which is 2010, right? So in 2010 we can see next year 2011 orders as well, raw by raw. Okay, so that's how we have created the explicit measures for order amount previous year to be shown on just one row with respect to the next year as well.
Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn how to calculate year-to-date balances with two different methods using the time intelligence DAX. So let's get started. First, I will go to my dates table and I will check if I have necessary columns here or not. So when I go to my table view, you can see date, month, year and quarter, but I don't have month names column because I need to use them later on. So I need to create this first. So for that I will click on new column, which is a calculated column, and I will write the DAX here. You can also create month names column within the Power Query as well. It's your choice. Alright, so first give a column name here. That will be month names, and we will be using a DAX called format. So we'll say go to dates table, date column, pick the date column and return the month name in short abbreviation. So it will give me Jan, Feb, March, April, okay, like this. Alright, now another thing you need to do is, once you created this column and you will be using that in your report view, the sorting will not be correct because by default it will be sorted as ascending or descending, whereas the month sorting based on chronological sorting. So what we're going to do is we will select this column and we will take help of this month number column. So we'll go to sort by column and we will say sort this column based on month numbers. So technically on the back end, every month will be assigned with a number, and when we use here on this reporting canvas, the chronological sorting for Jan to December will be correct. So we need to do this for the just one time, not again, but this is how we sort the chronological order for the month names. There could be any other possible ways to do it, but this is one of the way. Alright, so let's go to the orders table and create an explicit measure to calculate YTD. Alright, let's make it a bit zoom. Okay, so first we will give a name to this explicit measure. That will be, let's say, order amount YTD, and we will be using a DAX called calculate again. Calculate total orders, comma, and we'll pick a DAX called dates YTD. Now you have dates QTD for quarter, dates MTD for month. We are picking up dates YTD here, and we'll say go to dates table, pick the date column, that is the dimension table, and let's drag this order amount here, and we'll do first formatting, and I will show you what's the difference here. So let's click on comma formatting. We don't need decimals, so we'll put 0 here. Press enter key. Alright, so now as you can see, order amount YTD is showing you the same balances which total orders column is showing you. So these are similar, but what's the difference here? So let's change the visual. So I will go for metrics visual here. So let's click on metrics. So we have converted this visual into a metrics, and we will add another field here which is month names. Okay, now let me make it a bit zoom. Let me expand 2009, so it expands month wise. Now you can see here order amount YTD, so it keeps on adding the previous month with the current month and going on, right? So that is the total for 2009, as you can see here, right? So that's the order amount. Once I the month field here, and I have expanded, so you in the total orders you have month wise balances, whereas order amount YTD is year to date balances, which is summing up all the previous month with the current month one by one, raw by raw. Okay, alright, let's create another calculation. So we'll go to new measure. So let's give a name as, let's say, order amount total YTD. Okay, and this time we'll be using total YTD. So we have total MTD, QTD. We are using total YTD here. First is the expression, so we will put here total orders as an explicit measures, and we will be using dates from the dates table, date column. You have also a field called year end. If I don't use this optional field which is year end, so by default it assumes that my calendar year is from Jan to December and my last date is 31st of December. Okay, but if you have a fiscal year from July to June, you can put it something like inverted comma 6/30, which is the last month of your calendar year. Okay, so you can use that as well, but for now we have a financial calendar year from Jan to December, so we don't need to use this optional argument. Okay, so let's close the bracket. And let's drag here, and you can see we have calculated similar kind of calculation within an alternate explicit measure DAX. So let's make a format first. Comma formatting, no decimal places, keep it 0. Right, so now you can see the difference here. Okay, so now you have two choices. Either we go with calculate and a combination of dates YTD to calculate YTD balance year wise, or you can go total YTD DAX as well. Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar. In this video tutorial, we will talk about one more time intelligence DAX, that is DatesBetween, and how it works. So let's get started. I will go to the orders table and I will click on new measure. So let me get a bit zoom. Okay, so let's give a name to this explicit measure. Let's say order amount. We need order amount based on between dates, starting and ending date. So it could be like 5th April 2009 to 4th April 2010. In your case, it could be anything. So let's get started. We will write calculate the expression will be the explicit measure total orders, comma, then we will write dates between, and it says that provide the dates, so we can say that we have dates table, date column, starting date. So starting date would be in inverted commas we'll write 4/5/2009, comma, and then ending date would be 4/4/2010, and let's close the bracket. So let's drag this here, order amount. Okay, let's make it a bit format, so comma formatting, let's put 0 decimal places. Now you can see this amount is being similar for all the years, right? And eventually if I add more fields, let's say in the rows, if I add date as well, and it could be date, not a date hierarchy. Okay. So you can see the balance is still remains the same for, so for date wise total orders is showing that particular date balance, whereas the dates between is doing the filter context to this table and showing the similar balance for from 5th April 2009 till 4th April 2009. Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn how to get first date and the last date based on different time periods and through the time intelligence DAX. So let's get started. So I will click on new measure. Okay, let's write the name of this explicit measure first. So we will say these will be the first dates or the starting date. So equals to first date, and we just have one argument, that is dates. So, and it's also important to learn that it returns first non-blank date. Okay, so we will give the column from the dates table here, close the bracket, and let's put it here in the matrix visual, so it shows us the first date for every year and also the time. So we don't need the time here, so what we can do, we can go to format and we can say give us a short date. Okay, so as you can see here, from every year it's giving us the first non-blank date, right? Now let's go for the last date. Okay, so let's give a name, last dates equals to last date. We also have the functions like for last non-blank, okay, and similarly we have first non-blank. So I mean it depends on situation to situation what you need to do, either first non-blank or first date. So technically we are using here first last date. Let's define the table name and column name, and let's drag here to this matrix visual and format it as a short date. So now as you can see, it's giving the last date for every year. Now what we can do, for example, if we can add a quarter here. So now as you can see, this is the first quarter, so it's giving us 1st January 2009, and in this first quarter we have the last date, which is 31st March 2009. Similarly, second quarter, starting date and ending date. So it basically runs on filter context based on the visual which we have selected. Okay, third quarter, fourth quarter. Similarly for the next years, you can see the first date and the last dates. So whatever the field you will drag here, that will appropriately give you with respect to the first date and the last date for that time period. Thank you. Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn how to extract opening balance month
and closing balance month, and we will learn these two time intelligence DAX. So let's get started. First I will click on new measure. Let's give a name first, opening balance month. So we'll start with opening balance month. You have opening balance quarter as well, opening balance year as well. Depends that what kind of descriptive attribute from the dates table you have selected, either year, quarter or month. Okay, so we will be using in this video opening balance month. Okay, so the first is the expression. So we have the explicit measure known as total orders, which returns the balances, and from where, so we need to define the dates. Another criteria we have, or the argument, which is filter. That's optional to use. So in the dates we will tell them go to dates table, pick the date column, and let's close the bracket. And we will put this into our this matrix visual. Let's first format this and let's see what it's generating. So we'll click on comma formatting, and we will see 0 here. And what else? Let's give a name, closing balance month equals to closing. We have closing balance quarter, closing balance year. We'll be using closing balance month. Expression will be total orders. It's an explicit measure, and we will say that go to dates table, dates column. Let's close the bracket and let's format it. Comma formatting, decimal place is 0, and let's put it onto this matrix visual. So now as you can see here, that's the opening, that's closing. So now it's matching opening and closing with each other, column side by side. Okay.
Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar. In this video tutorial, we will learn another awesome time intelligence DAX, that is DateADD. So the syntax for the DateADD is, the first argument is dates. So we need to define the dates. Then the number of intervals. If we want to move backwards, for example, we need to write -1, -2, -3. And what kind of interval? So for example, if we need to move -1 based on year, so in the interval we will write here. If we want to move number of interval -1 or -2 based on months, so we will write months here. Okay. So going to the reverse, historically we have to put -1, -2, -3 in the number of intervals, and in the interval we need to put a time period. Either it could be day, quarter, month or year. Okay. So let's get started how to use this. So we'll click on new measure. First we will define the name of the measure. You can give any name. Let me give a name, that is DateADD. We'll start with calculate. The expression will be total orders, that would return an amount, but based on a filter context. So we will be putting DateADD DAX here. So the first is define the dates. So we know that it being in the dates table, date column, right? The number of interval, we need to move backwards -1, one time period based on year. Let's say, okay, let's close the bracket and let's put it on this matrix visual, and let's format this first. So we need comma formatting, and we will be having no decimal places, 0. Okay, so now you can see that in 2010 we can see the previous year balance, the previous. Why? Because we are telling date at go -1 and year wise, so it's putting it's giving us that particular balance. If you see 2011, so the current 2011 total order balance with respect to the previous year, which is 2010, right? So this is how we can move to any different kind of time period with respect to year, month, quarter, or day, or likewise number of intervals as well. Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will be learning one more time intelligence DAX, that is known as parallel period. So let's get started how to use this. So we'll click on new measure. In the previous video, we have learned how to use DateADD. So now we will be seeing how to use parallel period. The syntax will remain the same. So let's get started. Let's give a name first, parallel period, or any other name you would like to give as per your understanding. So we start with and calculate expression will be total orders, that will return an amount, and in the filter argument we will be using parallel period DAX. So the first argument is dates column. We know that we have dates table, date column. Then number of interval, let's say we need to move 1 year back, so we'll put -1 for the time period, and then we have month, quarter, and year, right? So we'll say we need to move year wise, and let's compare DateADD versus parallel period. So let's drag this parallel period to the canvas, and let's also format this, comma formatting, and we don't need any decimals, so let's put it 0. So now you can see that both has the similar outcomes, either you use DateADD with the calculate or parallel period as well. Okay, and let's see if I add one more field here. This is because we have used year wise. If we add in the matrix visual months, so let's see if it works contextually, filter context or not. So if I add month names, so now for the 2009 it will not give us any balance, but in 2010 you can see. So if you see, if I added the month names here, so what DateADD is doing is picking up all those month-wise balances from the previous year month-wise balances and giving me for the next year, that's the previous month-wise balances, whereas the parallel period is showing the total year balance for each of the month here as well. So that's the significant difference. So if you can see, 503479 is the January, 330449 is for the February. So DateADD can be further drilled down to month wise and carrying forward all those balances from the previous year to the next year, whereas parallel period is giving a total number based on the previous year in the next year. Okay, that's the difference.
Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn how to create a calculation based on a percentage year-on-year basis. Okay, so let's get started. First, we will click on new measure. Let's give a name to this. So we need percentage YOY. Okay, and how we're gonna start is, we have already an explicit measure total orders that will be divided by order amount for previous year, right? And then -1. Close the bracket, press the enter key, and let's make it to the percentage format. Okay, so we'll click on percentage. We don't need decimal, just 1 decimal, let's say. Okay, and we will drag this to this matrix. Now it shows infinity here, or it could be shows error here. Now infinity is not good here to be shown, right? Whereas percentage Y-on-Y is absolutely correct if we calculate 2010 as the current year with respect to the previous year, so it's minus or negative 15.5%, whereas if we see 2012, 3.6 million, whereas the last year 3.4 million, so it's an increase of 7.7% year-on-year, right? So we need to get rid of infinity as well, or if in future if you see any kind of error, so we need to modify this explicit measure. So what we're going to do is, we will say that if order amount previous year is equals to 0, then result if true, then show
blank, bracket open, bracket close, comma, and whatever in the result if false. Alright, so now you can see we don't have infinity or any kind of error, we just have year-on-year percentage of difference.